Hello, Becky Duff here. Welcome back to my channel. I am here to do a little bit of a reading challenge. So I have watched Mina from Mina Reads do a couple of these challenges where she reads like 200 pages a day, 150 pages a day, 100 pages a day, whatever it is. And then last night I was also watching Sid from Sid Bookworm do 100 pages a day reading challenge, and she said she likes doing those kind of challenges or doing challenge based videos and watching challenge videos and stuff. So I was thinking, when I have watched these kind of challenge videos in the past of reading so many pages a day, I was like, I couldn't do that. Not 100, 200 pages a day. When you are watching people online, it is easy to think, Luigi, you're in my way. It's easy to... Luigi, stop. It is easy to compare yourself and think like, why can't I read 100 pages a day? But then you look and these people they may be married and have one kid, or they're married with no kids, or they are single, or whatever the case may be. And I am... My dog is obsessed with my cat and will not leave this cat alone at all, and I don't get it. So, cat's in my bedroom, dog's outside for now. Maybe I can remember what I was talking about. But everyone's life circumstances are different, and not everyone can read 100 pages a day or 200 pages a day or 50 pages a day. If you read 10 pages a day or less, whatever you read, 1 page a day, that's fine. Whatever your goal is. And that's why I wanted to do this video, because I stay home. So I have a lot more time during the day while my kids are at school, while I should be cleaning my house more, but I'm not working a full-time job outside of the home. So I am home during the day with the baby. So I have that kind of freedom in my schedule, but I also have 4 children and a dog that is dumb and chasing my cats around. And I am the housekeeper, so I do what I can to keep the house clean and fight with my kids to get the house clean. So there is that part of it. I'm just in the busy stage of life where I have children. I don't have a career, but I do have a husband and children that need my time and attention and care, and pets that need that time and care. So I just wanted to do this kind of challenge of reading a minimum goal of 30 pages a day. And this will be an interesting challenge because I don't actually track how many pages a day I read. So I do have, let me go grab it. My husband got me this Always Fully Booked like daily planner from Little Inkling Designs. I will link her shop down below. It is beautiful. So it's still on March 19th. That's how much I keep up with it. That was also my husband's birthday, March 19th. So let's go to today, Monday, March 27th. So I'm going to do a 5-day reading challenge. And then it says like here at the bottom, like, so this is 1 day. And then at the bottom here, it says amount read. So I have this to keep track of my reading. And I can keep track if I don't have an audiobook going right now. But if I do listen to an audiobook, but I'm not going to count that as pages read. I'm trying to read like physical books. I want to do this challenge so people don't feel bad thinking like, oh, I could never read 100 pages a day. So there's no rules for this. But for me personally, I'm just not going to track minutes or hours listened to into pages. That would be like a separate thing to track. I gotta get the dog in because she's barking and we got a noise complaint last time. See, I have like 8 minutes of recording done and I've had to get up like 4 times. So this is what I mean by not having time to read. If you choose to do this kind of challenge and want to do audiobooks and count that as pages read, that's fine. Audiobooks is reading. Just for me, I have a lot of physical books I'm trying to get through that I want to read, that I do not have audiobook copies for. If I don't complete the 30 pages a day, that's okay. We're not going to beat ourselves up for this. I want to be on technology less, reading more, and getting through some of the books that I have started at the beginning of the year and stuff like that. So, see? Another interruption. What's the matter? Are you stuck? I had this all planned in my head, what I was going to say. I had it all up here, and now I've just lost all of it because mom life. I don't have my mom life mug, but I have a hashtag mom life mug that my daughter bought me. I am a Christian, and I have been neglecting reading. I've been trying, and I've been doing not too bad, but I've been trying to read my Bible every day. So I am not going to count Bible pages read as part of this challenge, but I do want to read a little bit every day from the Bible. And then I have a book about prayer that I'm reading. So that will count as pages read. So here's the plan. You are on my Bible study thing. So let's see if I can grab this. Nope. So I crocheted this little book sleeve. Here's my Bible. This is NIV Beautiful Word Coloring Bible. So there are things in here you can color. So my plan is to read. I was thinking about this yesterday. I'm going to do one proverb, and I'm going to start with Proverbs 1, just right at the very beginning. And then one psalm. I am on Psalm 146. And one chapter in the New Testament. I am currently in Mark. That's my plan. Then after that, I'm going to get into the reading of the actual books. I am reading these books. I have to finish The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches, which I am loving. And which it seems kind of weird, right? I'm a Christian. I'm going to read all this stuff, and then I'm going to read this book about witches. I don't know how I feel about it either, but this is fantasy. It's fantasy. It's not real. I don't believe in witches. And my dog is chewing on, I think, a piece of Lego. Yep. Okay, so I want to finish this. I'm on page 262, chapter 25, and there's 316 pages. So that's already more than 30 pages there, and I was hoping to finish this tonight. So that's 54 pages. So I have this to read, and then I want to read, after doing my Bible stuff, I want to read How to Pray, A Simple Guide for Normal People by Peter Gregg. And that's not right. I am not that far in. I'm at the beginning of intercession. Here. My bookmark probably fell out and I just shoved it in. Yeah. I'm this far in. It's hard to read just like a half a chapter and then walk away from it for several days. You kind of lose that momentum in what you're learning about. So I would like to read chapter 6, which is Intercession, which goes from page 93 to 111. So right there, again, that's almost 30 pages right there. So I'd like to do a chapter of this a day if possible. And then I'm also reading Hood Feminism. And this is, again, I'm on page 14. Like, I am not that far in. So this is another one that it's hard to pick up and put down, pick up, put down. There's so much in it. So I would like to read a chapter of this at a time if possible. Now she's eating a pencil crayon. Look at that. So this is page 15 to 29. So if I can get a page of this, a chapter of this. So even just reading these two things alone would get me my 30 pages. So this is where we're at. My phone needs to charge. It is dying. So I'm going to charge that so I'm not distracted while I'm doing my reading. Today is Monday. Hi, Monday. Can you tell? I need coffee, apparently. And I'm going to do this experiment for 5 days. Most people do it for the week, like Sunday to Sunday kind of thing, 7 days. I'm going to do it for 5 days because my kids are at school for the next 5 days. Like I said, I just wanted this to be a more realistic goal for people of all stages in their life, making reading more of a habit and a priority over other things, and having realistic goals. And again, it doesn't matter if you read 1 book a year, 100 books a year, 1 book a month, 30 books a month, if you read 10 pages a day or 300 pages a day, it doesn't matter. It's just a good habit to have, to be reading. And I assume you attempt to read somewhat because you are watching a video about reading. So about books. Yeah, let's get into it. So it is like 12:30 now. I read my Bible stuff and that's pretty much it. I'm going to jump into How to Pray and hopefully read this one chapter, which is 7 pages, 14, 16 pages. And maybe do some editing. I am terrible at time management and I need to set aside a dedicated amount of time to edit videos every day. My son just went down for a nap, so that is good timing right now. And I mentioned I would talk about what I was kind of got out of my Bible reading time. So the first proverb just talks about the fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge, but fools despise wisdom and instruction. That's kind of the theme of Proverbs, is just gaining knowledge. What does that mean to fear the Lord? It's not like people think it is, like being scared of God. Fear is more like a reverence and awe. and having a proper respect for God and his position in our lives and the fact that he is God. It's not about being scared of him and cowering and being like, oh, he's gonna like beat me down if I do something wrong. It's not that kind of scared fear. It's an awe and a reverence and a respect that he deserves. And then the psalm I read was Psalm 146, which is just about like praising the Lord. I highlighted, do not put your trust in princes, in human beings who cannot save. I think that's pretty self-explanatory. I'll just read Psalm 146, verses 6 to 9. He is the maker of heaven and earth, the sea and everything in them. He remains faithful forever. He upholds the cause of the oppressed and gives food to the hungry. The Lord sets prisoners free. The Lord gives sight to the blind. The Lord lifts up those who are bowed down. The Lord loves the righteous. The Lord watches over the foreigner and sustains the fatherless and the widow. And then I read, like I said, chapter 8 of Mark, and it's where Jesus feeds the 4,000. And when he talks about, like, there's another part where he feeds the 5,000 in chapter 6, verse 30, and it always says, like, they all ate and were satisfied. That's chapter 6, verse 42. And then chapter 8, verse 8, the people ate and were satisfied. God gives us enough to satisfy us. If you read this talk, like how to pray, obviously he's going through the Lord's Prayer. So give us today our daily bread. God provides for us today. We don't need to worry. Yesterday is history, right? Tomorrow is a mystery. Today is the present. We don't need to worry about tomorrow. Right now we need to focus on today. And God provides for us today, and he satisfies us today. Yeah, that's what I have to say about that. It says, like, Jesus looked up and gave thanks. He broke the bread. He broke the fish kind of thing. He gave thanks, and the disciples distributed the food, and they all ate and were satisfied. So being thankful to God for what he gives us today, that satisfies us today, in this moment. That's pretty much it. There is this, Peter declares that Jesus is the Messiah, and Jesus predicts his death. That's all in Mark chapter 8. And I highlighted, Jesus is talking about how he's going to be persecuted and crucified and die. And Peter takes him aside and rebukes him and is like, no, you're not going to die. This is not going to happen, Jesus. He's trying to give Jesus a little pep talk. And Jesus rebukes Peter and says, get behind me, Satan. Like, that's harsh language. And he says, you do not have in mind the concerns of God, but merely human concerns. And I highlighted that and just wrote down, what am I concerning myself with? So another thing to think about, like I said, like, don't worry about tomorrow, but like, what am I so worried about? Is it human concerns or the concerns of God? Yeah, that's a really good thing to keep in mind, because some stuff, like, we get so anxious and worked up and concerned about things, and tomorrow they're not even going to matter. Next week, they're not going to matter. That's not saying that, like, we live in this world and there are things like we have to pay our bills, we have to eat, right? Like, we need shelter, we need proper clothing for the weather that we live in, things like that. There are concerns that affect us that we do need to pay attention to and stuff. But where am I looking to God for help with those things? Or am I focused on the concerns of God, like preaching the gospel or helping the sick, the homeless, the needy, the widow and the orphan, basically like what it talks about in the Bible, right? Am I concerned with what concerns God, or am I just concerned with just merely human concerns like drama on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram or whatever? So yes, so that is my Bible study stuff. And now I'm going to dive into how to pray and then probably make some lunch and finish filling up the dishwasher. We did dishes like 4 times over 2 days, and the sink is full. It's just crazy. And So today is Tuesday, and yesterday I managed to read 62 pages. I happened to read exactly 30 pages of the Secret Society of Irregular Witches. And I am not done the book yet. It is so good. I'm enjoying it a lot, but I am not finished it yet. So I have that with me. I got MOPS today, which is Mothers of Preschoolers. So I dropped my kids off at like 8:55. We were a little bit late. It was like 9:03 today. And then MOPS starts at 10. I usually go and get a coffee and then park and sit and want to read, but the baby just like was screaming and crying and not happy every time I stopped the car. So I went and got the coffee and came back, and now he's asleep, and there is like 16 minutes before MOPS starts. So I'll get a little bit of reading done. So I'm going to jump into starting the chapter that I want to read for Hood Feminism. Yesterday's chapter was about gun violence, which was mind-blowing and shocking and terrifying, honestly. I don't know if it's just because I'm Canadian and gun violence is just a little bit different here. The issue with guns here is just different. You don't really hear about issues with guns here. Not that it never happens, not that shootings don't happen here. It's just not as prevalent here as in the States. I would be interested to look up into gun violence in Canada, I guess. It's just mind-boggling to read about gun violence in the States. And now this next chapter is called Hunger. And I don't know how many pages it is. Goes to page 46 and starts on page 31. So I'll get a few pages of that done. And I did not do my Bible reading or anything yet this morning. I just didn't have time before taking the kids to school. So that will be an afternoon activity. So I'm back home now. It is just 12:17 and I read just until the break in the hunger section here. And now I'm going to read my Bible, do my Bible reading stuff. And Luigi got fixed back in February. I can't remember. February? And now he's like extra cuddly and like this all the time. And the dog's outside, so they're not knocking over my coffee this time. But I don't want to keep reading this. It's so depressing and sad and frustrating. And I just want to go back to being ignorant, okay? Yeah. And it's hard too because you feel like there's so much brokenness in the world and you can't fix all the brokenness in the world, but I feel like God will put on your heart one thing. Like in here she talks about gun violence and hunger and eating disorders, missing and murdered, fear and feminism, race, poverty and politics, education, housing, reproductive justice, things like that. So all of those issues, like I can't tackle every single one of those. I can be an ally and support other women who are tackling those issues and other men and stuff. But I find that God will put on your heart like one very specific thing that you can focus the main part of your time, attention, money, resources, whatever it is that you have to give or pray about too, those things. So maybe that's what I should do is like pray through each chapter of this book. But it's just heartbreaking and depressing and sad, but really good. A really good read. It says Every Woman Should Read It by Pandora Sykes and Sykes? Pandora Sykes. And I would agree. Very, very important. Men and women should read it. But yeah, I gotta go get the dog because she's barking. And that was just my quick little update. I am tired. I want to make biscuits. I want to make bread. I need to figure out dinner. And speaking of hunger, like food prices and everything like that, it's just people in poverty and struggling to make ends meet and stuff it's not going to get any easier because like we are struggling here and we are very privileged and very blessed where we are. Like me, my family. And it's a struggle some days to have enough groceries in the house and stuff and keep the kids fed and everything like that. And my kids are never, well, ask them, they're starving all the time. I'm like, you don't understand what it's like to go hungry. And my mom went hungry some days so that me and my brother could eat. And I didn't know that until I was older. Like I knew that we weren't rich, but I didn't realize like my mom was going without quite a lot. And it's a very real issue out there. So I can't really complain about like, oh, I gotta feed my kids again. Actually, the truth is I get to feed my kids again. And that's a really important thing to remember. That being said, I have to figure out what to feed them. The struggle for me isn't access to food. It's more finding food that they will eat and not fight me on. So that's really frustrating. So I read my psalm and my proverb. The proverb starts with moral benefits of wisdom. And that's it. That's the only title for that one. And it just talks about like what I've underlined in the past. It says like, if you do this, if you do this, if you do this, then God will do this. Being a Christian is a relationship. You can see my boot. The dog stole it. I was playing with it, so I put it up there. She could get it from up there too. She's tall, but as a Christian, it is a relationship with Jesus. And there's this give and take and this back and forth. Wisdom is seen as personified as like a woman. She's telling you this. And you have to listen to her to get the benefits, to get wisdom, right? You have to listen to wisdom. And it talks about like, if you accept my words and store up my commands within you, turning your ear to wisdom and applying your heart to understanding. Indeed, if you call out for insight and cry aloud for understanding, and if you look for it as for silver and search for it as for hidden treasure, then you will understand the fear of the Lord and find the knowledge of God. So there's that. You have to do your part and then God does his part. God has built these laws into the world, like gravity. If I jump off something, I'm going to fall because God has put the natural laws in order. And he has spiritual laws as well that we need to follow. So if we follow these laws, then his blessings are going to come from that. So that is that. And then Psalm 47 talks about he heals the brokenhearted and binds up their wounds. So if you're feeling brokenhearted right now, if you're going through something really tough or hard, know that God is there for you and you can call out to him and he hears you when you call to him. And I also, hey, dog is eating my plant. Get off the back of the couch. Not a cat. Oh, get off my chair. My plant in the window hangs down like this and she just pulled it off. Look how pretty it is. It's like pink. Look at that pink and green. Those are not colors I would normally put together, but nature did. So today it's just been one of those really frustrating days. Baby had a bottle and did not go down for nap, which I kind of assumed was going to happen because it was about an hour before his regular nap time, but he was acting tired and wanting a bottle and stuff like that. So I put him down anyways and he didn't nap. Now he should be like an hour and a half into his nap. What is going on with my hair? And now he's tired and wants to nap, but I have to go in under an hour to pick up the kids from school. So I don't want to go put him down in his crib because I'm just going to have to pick him up and take him out anyways. So that's frustrating. He's been okay. The frustrating part is my dog. She is about 9 months old. She needs a lot of exercise. And today's just one of those days where she's being extra bratty about everything. Last week we got a noise complaint from one of the neighbors. Animal bylaw control officers came by and everything and took down our information. And my dog is not out there just barking like mad all day long. It's just periodically, you know, she's out there. I put her out there. She barks at the back fence. Our back fence looks over onto like the main road out there. People walking by, whatever. The other neighbors have a daycare, so if it's nice enough out, she's out there with the kids. And she's just a puppy. She's barking. She's being protective of the yard, whatever. And a dog barking outside is annoying. I get it. And I try not to leave her out there very long, but sometimes I'm breastfeeding. Sometimes I'm in the bathroom or whatever. And she's out there, like, I would say she's never out there for more than 5 minutes barking straight. And her recall is terrible. So, like, see that big deep bark? Her recall is terrible, so she'll be out there and I'll be like, Peaches, come, and she'll come and look at me and then run off and keep barking. And if I put on my boots, she goes out there and just, like, runs laps around the backyard. So I'm trying really hard to keep her from barking outside, and she doesn't normally bark like in the house or anything like that. She's not a very yappy dog. I've dealt with that before. It's really annoying. She's not a bad dog or anything like that, but the neighbors have complained, so we're dealing with it. But I bring her inside, and I made dough for biscuits, and I caught her, she ate like half of that. She's chewing on all the kids' toys. She's taking my boots. You saw that was like in the back there. And she's just being really bratty today. She needs to get out. She needs to burn off that energy. So I'm going to leave here in half an hour, 40 minutes, and pick up the kids from school and take her to the dog park. Because I know that training dogs, just taking them to the dog park to just like run around and run laps can burn off their energy, but they need structured walks. Structured walks are very, very important. They learn how to walk with you, be part of the pack. You're training them as you're walking them. Having them just run circles around is not training them at all. But it is a great way to help her burn her energy and learn to meet new dogs and socialize. So we are going to do that. And as the weather warms up, my friend and I are going to do more walking, and our stroller is broke and I can't afford to buy a new one right now. So I just have this tiny little umbrella stroller. So my friend said that she would push the stroller for me and I can walk the dog. So as it gets warmer out there, that will be good. But just, it's a frustrating day. So I just want to come on here and just talk it out. So this is how my Bible reading is going. That's where I'm reading right there. Somebody wants Snuggles. Luigi. So I have finished my Bible reading, and today's psalm was 148. And as you can see, it is talking about praise the Lord from the heavens, praise him in the heights above, praise him all you angels, praise him all his heavenly hosts. And it talks about praise him sun and moon, shining stars, praise the Lord from the earth, you great sea creatures and all the ocean depths. Talks about mountains, hills, fruit trees, cedars, wild animals and cattle, small creatures and flying birds. And then at the bottom here, it talks about the people close to his heart praise the Lord. So I just decided to do a little bit of doodling today in my journal. I don't do this a lot. This is something new that I just started doing. I'm not really talented at drawing like this. I looked up how to draw this and this little cloud and stuff like that. And then looked up this killer whales are like my favorite whales. So I did that. And then the psalm was Psalm 3, which has that verse in it. Psalm 3, 5-6. A lot of people, this is like their life verse, and it's here drawn out for you. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to him, and he will make your path straight. So that is my Bible reading for the day. Happy Wednesday. So my reading challenge is going very well. Monday I read 62 pages, and yesterday I read 66 pages. I purposely set the challenge very low so that there wouldn't be a lot of pressure on me with kids and busyness. But I'm also reading more. Look, who's that? Boop. Yeah. Kiss. Mwah. I purposely set the reading challenge low so I wouldn't feel that pressure, but I'm also purposely reading more now and choosing to read versus go on the computer. So that is good. Yesterday, my chapter of How to Pray happened to be 15 pages, and my chapter of Hood Feminism also happened to be 15 pages. So just with those two alone, I got my 30 pages. And then I finished reading The Secret Society of Irregular Witches. Jasper. Which was 36 pages I had left of that one. Normally, without this challenge, I would have read like maybe the full chapter of How to Pray or of Hood Feminism, but probably not both. And, oh, dude. And then just Secret Society. So I would have read closer to like 45-ish pages. But because of the challenge, I read all of those things. So that's good. You can't play with these. They're too little. You will break them. Or lose them, or then drop them and the dog will get them. Don't do it. Thank you. Merci beaucoup. Mine. So today is day 1 of 3 of La-La-a-thon. So I am a channel member on Kayla's BookTube channel, and she's doing a little mini 72-hour La-La-a-thon for celebrating her birthday, which I think is today. And then into the weekend, well, today's Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So to end off the month, the prompt for this little readathon is to read one of her favorite books and or to read one of your favorite books, reread. So I was planning to read Misery by Stephen King, because I swear like 2 years ago that I bought this book and I can't find it anywhere. So I'm guessing I didn't buy it, and I could look it up like and get it from the library or something like that, which I still might do in the future, but I'm trying to read the books off my bookshelf, right? I don't know what you want. You don't know what you want. So I'm going to pick another of her 4.5 5-star reads. She gave us like a big graphic with like all her 4.5 5-star reads or her Goodreads shelf that we could go look at for that. So I did see on there a couple of books on there that are on my bookshelf. I think she had Watch Us Rise on there, which is a YA book, and I should be able to read. Hey, don't bite me. Hey, I should be able to read that in the 3 days. And then if I can get to it, I'm going to reread The Outsiders, which is just over 100 pages and a small little book. So that was a book I loved when I was in like grade 9, and I haven't read it since then. So I'm excited to read that. So planning this 5-day week, reading 30 pages a day, and then having a little reading La-La-a-thon right in the middle of it kind of goes... Like, I have to read more than 30 pages a day to accomplish, like, to read those books in 72 hours. So, anyways, we'll see how that goes. But the challenge is still to read... Peaches! The challenge is still to read the chapter of How to Pray, Hood Feminism, and then the stuff in my Bible. So, that is good for me to have those challenges. And In about 2 hours, I gotta leave and I'm having lunch with my friend. So I'm gonna do my Bible reading now and then maybe how to pray chapter and then go for lunch. And then come home and do other reading and look for another book to read for the Lala-a-thon, I guess. So I am not concentrating on reading as much today as I need to. So my kids are out of school in 40 minutes, so I'm gonna go drive over there, and my son is still sleeping in the car not in the car seat after my lunch with my friend. He's in the house, but I'm gonna just go pack him back into the car and go and sit at the school for like half an hour of uninterrupted reading time, maybe, hopefully, if the baby keeps sleeping. And then we come home for like 40 minutes and then have to go right back to the school for parent-teacher interviews. So it's me and all 4 children going, and it's gonna be crazy, so good luck with that. And then we'll come back here, and then my husband gets home at 7. We'll probably be back here around 6-ish. Then we go to the airport for 8:30, so my husband gets home at 7. We'll leave here around 7:30 and then go to the airport to pick up my in-laws. Kids don't know they're coming back yet. We just told them that we're going on a secret special family car ride today. So that's exciting, and it will be good to have them back in town. I am debating if I want to start Watch Us Rise or keep up with the Hood Feminism chapter I am on. I think I'll bring both and read a little bit of Hood Feminism and maybe start We Will Rise, because I only have like 3 days to read that. Well, I don't have 3 days. No one's gonna like get upset at me if I don't finish it in the time of the Lala-a-thon, but I'm hoping to finish it in the next 3 days. And then my goal was just to read a chapter of Hood Feminism a day, but that won't get me to finish the book by the end of this week. So that's okay if that takes me a little bit longer. That's a book I can kind of take my time with and absorb the information a little bit more. So that's okay. I can put that off to the side a little bit more, and I haven't touched How to Pray yet. So we'll see. I gotta go pick up the kids. So happy Thursday, everybody. I got my new shirt in. My in-laws came in from the States last night. They came back home, and I had ordered this to their place in the States to save on shipping, because shipping costs like the same amount as the product I'm buying. So very frustrating to have it shipped to Canada, but have it shipped in the States is like $5. So I am so excited. This is from Emily Cromwell Designs. I have 3 of her shirts, and they're just black and then her design on them. So it's nice to have a bit of a lighter color shirt. And Easily Distracted by Dogs and Books, which is 1000% me. If anyone knows me, this is me. My daughter wants one that says Easily Distracted by Cats and Books. So maybe that will be the next thing that she can make. Anyways, reading yesterday failed. Well, no, I think I accomplished the amount. I was having a really hard time reading the Hood Feminism chapter I wanted to read. It was just, I don't know. It was just, I felt like I was reading the same paragraph like over and over and over again, and I was just having a hard time understanding what was being said. It was talking about rape culture. So I'm only about halfway through that chapter, so I'll have to keep on with that today or tomorrow. And it wasn't hard because of the topic to read about it. Like, it wasn't triggering or anything for me. It just, I don't know, my brain wasn't functioning very well yesterday. But I think I read about 10 or 11 pages of that. And then I only got into 20 pages of Watch Us Rise. So I think I did hit the 30-page mark of my goal. But I didn't read any of How to Pray. But I did get the Bible reading done. So I didn't fail the challenge. I did like just reach it, but I didn't get as much reading done as I had been trying to do. Peaches! So today my daughter is home from school because they were going skiing and she didn't want to go. So we had the whole day planned out, and then my in-laws don't have a vehicle right now because they flew in. So their one vehicle's in the States, and then their other vehicle here was in an accident like several months ago, and it's still in the shop waiting for parts to be done, for parts to come in. So they asked to borrow the van, and so all our plans went out the window. So that's okay. We'll figure it out. But I'm going to read a little bit of my Bible and stuff, I guess, because we didn't have time to do that this morning. And it's only 9:40 now. So yeah, do just some reading, maybe watch Gilmore Girls with my daughter, and wait for my van to come back. So happy Friday. Yesterday I did the Bible part, and then I read only Watch Us Rise, and I read 52 pages of that, 51 pages of that, something like that. And that was it. I didn't get to Hood Feminism or How to Pray. And that's why books like that take me forever to get to, because I just get caught up in reading other things. And today is Friday, so it's the last day of the trying to read 30 pages a day challenge. I was supposed to go to the library today, but I just ended up not going, went to Walmart to grab a few things for Easter. Yeah, I was nursing the baby and stuff like that, but it's noon now, it's 11:59 a.m., and then I have to do my Bible study stuff I want to do, and then for the the Lala-thon ends today, and she's doing reading sprints at 3 p.m., and then I pick up my kids at 3:40, so kind of not the best timing, but I can probably pick them up during a reading sprint. So that will be good, but I won't get any reading done. And I've also started listening to Drums of Autumn, which is the 4th Outlander book. So that's been good, and hopefully I can get through that a little bit quicker by the end of April. I'm hoping to get through that book, but those are like 44-hour long audiobooks. Yeah, that's just what's happening right now, and I will jump into reading here. So it is Tuesday, April 4th today. So I finished my reading challenge a few days ago on the Friday, the 31st of March. And I really, really need to do a wrap up. So I'm still going to do like a proper sit down wrap up. I'm just in the Tim Hortons drive-thru right now. And this whole challenge video was to show that sometimes what we see on the internet isn't real life, and it's not realistic, and it's hard to live up to those things, and people are only showing us what they want to show us. The whole point of this challenge was to show like real life gets in the way. So today was supposed to be MOPS, and my son has been not feeling very great, so I just took him to the doctor, and it sounds like it's just a stomach bug. My one daughter was sick yesterday. Cough, runny nose. She had like a 2-hour nap, like went back to sleep after I dropped the other kids off at school, and then was better like the rest of the day. So that's good. But then my son has been like running to the bathroom constantly, and then my daughter was like, I had some dry cereal. My other daughter was like, I had some dry cereal, and has gone to the bathroom like 3 times this morning. So I took my son to the doctor because he's been sick a little bit longer, and it sounds like it's just a stomach bug. So I missed MOPS. MOPS is done now. And haven't even had breakfast yet, so I'm stopping at Tim Hortons to get some stuff. And I mentioned getting my son chicken noodle soup because I have a deal on the app that if you get a sandwich and you get like a soup, you get like 20% off or something like that. My son is like, what is chicken noodle soup? And I'm like, how are you 7 years old and don't know what chicken noodle soup is? So anyways, it has been really hard to find the time to do this wrap up video. And so I just wanted to add this little clip here showing like this is real life, and we can't always like sit down. Part of it is needing to have my hair done and looking halfway decent, and I want to look good for the sit down parts of it. And another part of it is just life. Anyways, I'm going to go and get my order at Tim's. So I'm here to do the wrap up of my 5 days of reading 30 pages a day. Don't mind the crazy dirty house and stuff around me. Normally I like to do sit down videos downstairs in my little reading corner where it's a little bit quieter, more aesthetic, cleaner, stuff like that. But this is real life. The whole point of this vlog was to show a more realistic goal with reading and how long it takes to read a book and just where I can film. I just had a bath. My baby was sleeping. I had a bath and did my Bible study stuff because I felt like if I was in the bath, I wouldn't be distracted by like the computer and things like that. So I did that. And then as I was coming out, I was like, I will go downstairs and film this clip, but baby woke up. So now he's eating his muffin there beside me. And this is what we have to deal with. I would bring him downstairs with me, but he can climb the stairs now. So that is awesome. I don't have a baby gate or anything down there. He's like barely walking. My friend said he walked yesterday for her, and I was like, of course he did, because I wasn't there. But he's barely walking, but he can climb things, so that's always fun. Okay, was this experiment a success? I would say yes. I managed to accomplish the 30 pages every day, so it's successful that way. I did the tracking here, as I said I was. So Monday I read 62, Tuesday 66, Wednesday I just reached my mark with 31, Thursday 51, and Friday 48 pages. Even panting. So number of pages read was successful. Now going back to that, my goal was to read a chapter of Hood Feminism and then a chapter of How to Pray every day. And on Thursday and Friday, I read none of those. I did not read How to Pray on Wednesday, and Hood Feminism, I only got 11 pages in and then haven't continued with it since then, and it is now 1 week later. Today is Wednesday, the April 5th. So I was in the middle of a chapter of Hood Feminism like I was talking about, and it was talking about rape culture and things, and it was just a lot to take in, and I was having a hard time comprehending it all, so I just put it to the side and haven't picked it up in a week. So that's the trouble with reading those kind of books, I guess. And then with How to Pray, I was also just trying to get through Watch Us Rise for the La-La-a-thon. So, talking about realistic goals with reading, Watch Us Rise is a YA novel, and it has poems in it, so some of the pages aren't full. I will show you. Like, some of the pages are like this, with lists here, poem. I meant to look to see if they actually had Spotify lists, because there's right, like a girl top 10 playlist, and then it's got the 10 songs. So I'd be curious to know if they have these on Spotify. I didn't see anything that talked about it. But for the average reader, I would say, maybe not the average reader, maybe somebody who just reads fairly quickly or has more dedicated time to it, they could have read this in 72 hours. If you could read this down, sit down and read this in a day, that's amazing, and all more power to you. I wish I could do that. This is also 300, and there's also some pictures in here, which I thought was really cool. A really cool addition to it. 350 pages long. This book talks about a lot and crams a lot in here about feminism, womanism, and just speaking out and having women's voices heard. There's a lot in here to take away from it, but it is a simpler read. Like, it's not a textbook. It's not this big, heavy thing. It is meant for younger readers to be able to get something out of this and start their journey, maybe, or encourage them or motivate them to keep on in their journey of feminism and standing up for rights and things like that. All that being said, all that being said, I have no idea what I'm talking about, what I'm trying to say. This took me 5 days to read. And for me, I'd say that's pretty average and pretty normal for this size book, this kind of language, things like that. I don't read a ton of YA anymore. And even as a young adult, I read a lot more like thrillers and detective mystery stories. So whether this was a YA or an adult, 5 days is pretty average for me to read something this length, this kind of style. Yeah, it doesn't matter how fast, how quickly, or how long it takes you to read a book. Reading is valid, and how you choose to read, when you read, how fast you read, how slow you read, it is all valid, and that's what this whole video was about. I did not get to complete this in the 72-hour La-La-a-thon, and I didn't even touch The Outsiders. Well, I touched it to move it down here to read it, and then didn't get to it. I'm glad that I still picked this for La-La-a-thon because it was on my list, and in here there is an A to Z challenge, and you write down books with their titles that start with A to Z. One book for every letter of the alphabet, and this was on there of books I wanted to read this year. So I'm glad I chose this, and I can knock it off the list, and it was 5 stars. I loved it. It was great. So I accomplished reading this, and I accomplished finishing The Secret Society of Irregular Witches. So this reading journey was a success. Last week was a success in reading. I'm gonna put this down. I loved The Secret Society of Irregular Witches. That was a library book. I had to return it to the library. No, you ate your muffin. The Secret Society was a book from the library, so I don't have it here to hold up anymore. But I loved it. It was so good. It was so fun. It is definitely found family. This book was very cute. It talked about magic and casting spells and having her cauldron going and stuff like that, but there was no, like, recipes. You want to see yourself? There was no recipes in it. Who's that handsome boy? If you don't know what The Secret Society of Irregular Witches is, it's a fantasy novel. Mommy. Mom. Oh, mommy. Mama. Oh. Can I have a kiss? Go play. Go find Luigi. So there's a world where real witches live and can use magic. And they say that the more witches that are together, the more powerful magic is, and there's a higher chance that something can go wrong. And all witches are orphans. Something happens to the parents soon after a witch is born that sadly kills the parents. So all the witches are kind of alone and living alone. And they come together once the third Thursday of every third month, I believe is what it was. They come together, they share different spells or things that they have learned, gossip about witchy things, and then that's it. They have to separate. Witches can't be together. And this girl that we are following, Mika, she's like 31, I believe, so a little bit of an older character. I know, so ancient. I'm like grandmother status at 35. Hi. Everybody can hear you. Yeah, you. I don't want to show you because my floor is dirty. Well, those are baby toys. Hi. My tripod doesn't go that way. I'm probably at a different angle now because the baby, but Mika has decided to post witchy videos to Instagram and has like this whole alter ego kind of thing because they can't share their witchiness with people in the world because they're afraid that those people will like take advantage of them or just not like it and bad things will happen. Okay, you want it? Okay. They can't share their witchiness in the world. So Mika has this alter ego online that she has and shares witchy videos and just pretends to be doing spells and have the cauldron going and stuff like that. And people just assume it's special effects and filters and things like that. Thank you for the music to accompany my video. It's copyright free. Jesper Originals on his little piano. Yeah. Okay, get back to it. There you go. And this guy is watching this video and he's like, she's a witch. And people are like, she's not really a witch. And he's like, no, she's a witch. We need to get her in here. Because it turns out that this ragtag group of people are taking care of 3 young witches. And the witch that took them in is like gone. She is an archaeologist and she's somewhere else on the other side of the world doing whatever. Cat has the zoomies. And has left these other people in charge of raising these 3 witches. But none of them are witches. You can see my other cat on the couch there. None of these adults left in charge are witches, so they don't know how to deal with the power that comes with these young witches, and so they need a tutor, they need a witch to take care and train these girls. So it's 11:59 a.m. Apparently that's Zoomy time. It's supposed to be midnight, you silly cat, that you have the zoomies. Luigi. Go get him. They message Mika on her Instagram, ask her to come over. She comes and checks it out, finds out there really are 3 witches here that need her help, and she agrees to help them. It's found family. It's very reminiscent of The House on the Cerulean Sea. We're not going to talk about that book, but if you like that one, you'd probably like this book. I really loved it. I love the found family. And there was a deeper message there, like Mika has been raised by nannies her whole life. But as soon as the nannies found out that she was a witch, they had to be replaced with somebody else because no one could find out that she was a witch. And then this other witch that was kind of like overseer of taking care of Mika and found the nannies for her would do this kind of like magic and erase their memories. So she had no connection to anyone growing up. She didn't even have like a foster family or an adoptive parent or anything that knows who she is and was like, when you were little, you were like this, or when you were little, you did that, or remember this, or anything like that. She has none of that. So she's very alone in the world and scared to get attached to anybody. So of course, with this found family, she's finding herself wanting to get attached to the kids and the other caretakers there, but she's very much like, no, I can't get attached. And then of course, there's another guy there that has kind of taken on the role of father to these 3 children. And Luigi, don't do it. He's taken on the role of father to these 3 children. and he's single, and his background is a little bit, not questionable, but like mysterious. You don't know what happened, but you know he has a lot of hurt and pain as well. So I liked that this book, that this author dealt with these really hard topics and addressed these things like loneliness and wanting to have a family. I thought it was really well done, and 5 stars from me. And then Watch Us Rise. I talk a lot, so I'm just going to read the back to keep it more condensed. Watch us shut it down. Watch us break it loose. Watch us rise. Jasmine and Chelsea are best friends. This year, at their NYC high school, they plan to rock the theater and poetry clubs until Chelsea realizes that poetry club is more interested in the classics than poems that matter, and Jasmine has an experience that is more drama than theater. Sick over the way, even their progressive school fails to listen to their voices, they start a new club, one dedicated to writing and creating work that supports women's ideas. Because art is never just art, and they know they can cause their art to make a statement, to create change. I'll just leave it there. I don't want to give too much. I wrote, you don't see anything, but I wrote and I highlighted apparently nothing. You see none of my notes. Well, there's some highlighting. I know people tab. I've tried tabbing and they either stick out too far or they stick out and like cover this. So I need like the transparent tabs. Cat. Jasmine is a bigger student. This is Jasmine. She has a bigger body and she has a lot to talk about that and body positivity, and it's really awesome. But she has a shopping experience with her white skinnier friend, and realizing like she doesn't fit into the same stuff that she fits into, and her stuff is like in the basement, a tiny little rack in the corner, hidden away. And I just put like, as a busty woman, I 100% relate to this experience, and just like leaving stores crying. Hers isn't quite that dramatic, but I've left stores and left the mall just crying because I was unable to find clothes that fit me. And as a teenager, I wasn't like really skinny or anything, but I wasn't obese or like triple XL or anything like that either. I just had breasts, and that made it like impossible to find clothes. So being bigger on top of that, like, you think we would be doing better now in the past like 15, 20 years since I was that age. And anyways, I took a lot of notes, added a lot of commentary to this. I really enjoyed this. Like I said, there's some pictures in here. They have a friend. There's 4 main characters, and the one guy is an artist and he draws, and there's some like added in here, which I think is just awesome. There is trigger warning for a parent with cancer, and that was like devastating and so hard to read about. And there are resources for young activists in the back. These are poets who make us rise. This is books to read, blogs that educate and empower. And then read more from and about the women quoted in this book, and then tells you like on page 30, this is the quote, this is the person, this is where you can read it and stuff like that. So really awesome resources in here as well. And if you have a teenager, man or woman, boy or girl, I would recommend reading this for sure. I love the school in this. I mean, there are some issues with the school, and that's part of the book and part of the story and part of the conflict in here. But I love the idea of the school in this. It's a very progressive school, and everything about this school has to do with justice. And they take, like, the one class they're in, I don't remember what it is. In the middle of the class, it's just like, there's a sign that's like, unsure. I don't know about this. And then in the 4 corners of the room, there's agree, strongly agree, disagree, strongly disagree. And then the teacher read out a question like, it is easy to access fresh fruits and vegetables in New York City. And then you went to whatever corner of the room, whether you agreed or strongly disagreed or whatever, you went to that corner of the room and stood there. And then she's like, okay, turn to the people in that corner with you and talk to them about why you think this. And then she asked another question and all like social justice things. And it was really interesting that they took like every class that they were in, like math, science, social studies, and made it applicable to life. Like, I find so much of high school and schooling is just like math and reading and writing and knowing how to construct a sentence and a paragraph and an essay and stuff like that can be important. And I definitely want my kids to be able to spell and use punctuation correctly. Yes, of course. And I want them to be able to do basic math, like, in their head, and science and social studies, like the basic stuff that they're learning, especially in elementary and things. That I'm not saying that none of that is important, but this school is teaching them things that are important to life as well, and how this matters in the real world. And I love that idea. And if I could homeschool, I totally would do that. But if you are or have in the past homeschooled, you're amazing. God bless you. I can't do it. But I give this a 5 out of 5 as well. So that is my wrap up. I have been talking for 24 minutes now, and I need to wrap this up literally because my video is already over 40 minutes long, and no one wants to watch like an hour of this. So anyways, thank you for watching. Comment down below if you have read The Secret Society of Irregular Witches, or if you have read Watch Us Rise. And thank you for joining me. Let me know if you know. I don't track my reading every single day, but if you know how much you read a day, comment down below how much you think it is and what would be a challenge for you. For me, maybe it'd be stretching to 50 pages. Again, obviously I wanted to keep this realistic and not stressful, but to give myself more of a challenge, 50 would be a good challenge for me. And I know that now, having done this 30-page challenge. So this was fun, and I will talk to you next time. Bye!